Hey guys, I'm Andrew Lin, and this is my co-star,
Tim Lin.
and welcome to your class on migration. Let's get started. Migration. Migration dates back to around 1.75 million years ago. As you can see, we have a Homo erectus species specimen right here migrating on its own free will.
Human migration is the movement from one place to another with the intention of settling temporarily or permanently in a new location, typically involving movements over long distances from one country to another.
Yes, that's very good. So basically the Homo erectus moved across Africa into Eurasia and were the first people to migrate 1.75 million years ago. It is believed that they migrated through the strip of the Levantine and the Horn of Africa, both of which connect Africa and Eurasia together. And it's believed that they migrated for three reasons. The first is because they wanted to. The second is because they had to, and third is especially because they could. So a lot of scientists attribute the effects of climate on food sources to be a main factor in the reason that they would migrate. Sources of meat and familiar plants push them to follow these familiar paths, follow these familiar sources, so that they could finally reach Eurasia. And it's because they were they were advanced enough to move around and be hunters and gatherers that they were able to continue on in their life as Homo erectus. 370 AD. And let's talk about the Huns.
Well, the Huns, they are barbarous people, and in other words, they are bandits.
Yes. The speed at which the Huns moved and their success in battle is best illustrated in their conquest of the region which comprises of modern-day Hungary. And the Huns continued their invasion of the region, and as historian Herwig Wolfram writes, citing the ancient source of Ambrose, the chaos this caused was widespread. The Huns fell upon the Alans upon the Goths, and the Goths upon the tribes of Tafili and Sarmatians. Many of these tribes, besides the Goths, sought refuge in the Roman territory, and when it was denied, they took it upon themselves to find a way to escape from the Huns, and the Huns were a great benefactor to the reason that the Romans fell.
This is a map of a conquest. We started all the way from over here, so we started moving westward, and then we split into three different places, and we used those three places to continue our conquest.
Known as the Age of Exploration.
Also known as the Age of Discovery.
Well, officially began early 15th century, lasted throughout the 17th century. The period was characterized as a time where Europeans began exploring the world by sea, searching for new routes for wealth and knowledge and trade. Anyways, the impact of the Age of Exploration will permanently alter the world and transform geography into the modern science it is today.
The Europeans were seeking not only goods such as gold and silver, but more importantly, they were seeking new trade routes after the Ottoman Empire decided to cut off their route near Constantinople, northern Africa, and the Red Sea. Let's talk about the discovery of the New World. While the Portuguese were opening new sea routes along Africa, the Spanish also dreamed of finding new trade routes to the far east. Christopher Columbus, an Italian working for the Spanish monarchy, first sailed the ocean blue in 1942. Columbus instead of finding India, Columbus instead found the island of San Salvador, which is today known as the Bahamas. He also explored the island of Hispaniola, home of the modern-day Haiti and Dominican Republic. Columbus would lead 3 more voyages to the Caribbean, exploring parts of Cuba and Central American coast. The Portuguese also reached the New World when explorer Pedro Alvarez Cabral explored Brazil, setting off a conflict between Spain and Portugal in terms of the newly claimed lands. As a result, the treaty officially divided the world in half in 1494. I'm sorry. Columbus's journeys opened the door for Spanish conquest of the Americas. During the next century, men like Herman Cortez and Francisco Pizarro would decimate the Aztecs of Mexico, the Incas of Peru, and other indigenous peoples of America. By the end of the Age of Exploration, Spain would rule southwestern United States to the southernmost reaches of Chile and Argentina, while Portuguese were opening new sea routes along Africa. The Spanish also dreamed of finding new trade routes to the Far East. Great Britain and France also began seeking new trade routes and lands across the ocean. In 1497, John Cabot, an Italian explorer working for the English, reached what is believed to be the coast of the newfound land. A number of French and English explorers followed them, including Giovanni de Verrazzano, who discovered the entrance to Hudson River in 1524, and Henry Hudson, who mapped the island of Manhattan in 1609. Over the next decades, the French, Dutch, British would all vie for dominance. English established the first permanent colony in North America at Jamestown, Virginia in 1607. Stalin established a trading outpost in present-day Nouvelle-de-Champlain, founded Quebec City in 1608, and Hull, New York City in 1624. Other important voyages of exploration that took place during the Age of Exploration were Ferdinand Magellan's attempted circumnavigation of the globe, the search for the trade route to Asia through the Northwest Passage, and Captain James Cook's voyage that allowed him to map various areas and travel as far as Alaska.
Yeah, so forced migration is denoted as the third classification of migration by J. Weinstein and Vijayan Pillai in 2001. It is when a person is moved against their own will, like slaves, or in other cases when the move is initiated because of external factors such as natural disaster or civil war. Voluntary migration is migrating voluntary, just like Stephen migrated to Taiwan, and permanent migration, when someone migrates and has no plans to return to their original home. So there's also temporary migration, where it's like limited by time. So like maybe you can only get employed in the winter because during the summer when it's not cold, your balls might be too big because your balls don't shrink from the cold. And that's just like a turnoff for a lot of customers and employees.
Let's start with the Syrian refugee crisis, which is a very large crisis. I'm pretty sure you are all very aware of this migration. So basically, many people, around 158 million by September of 2015, fled from Syria to neighboring countries in Europe. This is greatly part due to the Syrian civil war, in which many infrastructure was destroyed during the war, and there was a very big risk of death by staying in Syria for these people. So they decided to migrate out and become refugees in European countries. And this became a large issue in Syria because 168 million people left, and it became a large refugee crisis. So let's talk about the Chuyuan spring migration, which happens every spring. And this is for Chinese workers, and it is estimated that 2.9 billion Chinese people come home to their families, and this causes great traffic in China because 2.9 billion people are going back to China to visit their families for this Chuyuan spring migration. The Ellis Island immigration from other places to New York. So Ellis Island was a gateway for over 12 million people into the United States, and because so many people went there, they expanded in 1892 to 1934, and this is very good because it opened a lot of opportunities for immigrants to move to the U.S. through New York and live the golden dream in the Golden City. So there's a European migrant refugee crisis, and it is in tie with the Syrian refugee crisis, and it is still ongoing. They're struggling a lot because a lot of migrants go there by sea, but then it is still very dangerous because it is all mainly illegal, and they are just trying to survive. So, another major migration issue currently right now is the Executive Order 13769 signed by Donald Trump, which called for a U.S. refugee admissions program for 120 days, and it ended the entry of Syrian refugees indefinitely, and it banned people from multiple countries, from multiple Muslim countries, to enter the United States. So this caused a lot of controversy, and it was really because Donald Trump is a, and we all know that. But because he realized that it was causing so much controversy and it was causing a lot of people harm, he made a change. But this change was still a very bad change because he only took away the country of Iraq off of the list of the people that couldn't enter the U.S., which was still technically a Muslim ban and still inhibited a lot of people from using the U.S. to get refuge. So as we can see, this is harsh discrimination, and this is bad because Donald Trump is forcing people to not move to the United States through migration, which is a large part of a lot of these Muslim people's escape. So that being concluded, migration is very important in our lives. Donald J. Trump and a lot of other people are causing a lot of problems in the world. That's causing migration to be a larger part of our life. And thank you for watching our show. And we're out.